What's up, Taiwan? I'm Yvonne and you're watching TaiwanPlus. Legislative candidates in Taiwan are registering to be on January's ballot. The Democratic Progressive Party's presidential candidate Lai Ching-te and Kuomintang chairman Eric Zhu are showing support for their party's legislative candidates as they register in Taichung, where 8 legislative seats are up for grabs. Friday is the deadline to register. Voters will decide 113 legislative seats. The ruling DPP currently holds 63 seats in the legislature compared to the opposition Kuomintang's 38. While Taiwan's ruling DPP is considered the favorite to win the presidency in January, the race for the legislature is much closer, meaning that the executive and legislative might end up controlled by different parties. To find out more about what a divided government could mean for Taiwan, our reporter Rick Glauer spoke to Stanford University political scientist and research fellow Karis Templeman.
Could you tell us a little bit about how Taiwan's political system works? How is power divided between the legislature and the executive branch?
So Taiwan is a unitary government with a directly elected president who appoints the premier, who then appoints the entire cabinet. And the president can appoint or remove the premier at will. The president doesn't need the legislature to confirm the premier. And so, in effect, it operates much like a full presidential system. The legislature now is elected at the same time as the president, so they're concurrent, which in practice means that the presidential race tends to overshadow the legislative race, and there's pretty high correlation, at least among the districts, between a party's presidential vote share and their legislative candidates' vote share.
And what do you think are the chances for a divided government in Taiwan?
So Taiwanese voters in this election, when they go into the ballot booth, will receive 3 different ballots. One is for the president, the second is for their legislative district representative, and the third is a party list vote. And so they can vote freely for different parties on each of those ballots. In the past, typically a voter who casts a vote for the DPP, for president, also votes for the DPP in the district, and generally has also voted for the DPP on the party list. And so there's been pretty consistent party line voting. That broke down a little bit in 2020, and it's likely to break down again in 2024. So I think because of that, even if we have a DPP candidate who wins the presidency, the DPP is actually much less assured of a majority this time around than they were in 2016 or even in 2020.
And so what would a divided government mean for Taiwan?
There's a precedent for this from 2000 to 2008 when Chen Shui-bian was the president and the opposition held the majority in the legislature. That was generally not a fun time. There was deep partisan polarization. The opposition, almost from day one, kind of decided to go to war with the Chen Shui-bian administration and try to undermine his presidency. And so by the end of his 2 terms in office, the legislature and the executive branch were just in a constant state of political warfare. So at the extreme, that's potentially what divided government in Taiwan looks like. I'm a little more optimistic that under the current situation, if the DPP were to maintain control of the presidency but lose the legislature, it would not look quite as dire as the Chen Shui-bian era.
That was Stanford University political scientist and research fellow Karis Templeman speaking to our reporter Rick Glauer. Unemployment in Taiwan has fallen to its lowest level in 23 years. Figures out Wednesday show the jobless rate for October at just over 3.4%. The government says the drop was down to graduating students entering the workforce and increased consumption, creating jobs in the services industry. Taiwan added 17,000 new jobs in October, the large majority of them in the service sector. Manufacturing remains unstable, however, with 19,000 jobs lost in the sector in the past year. 2 leaders of a crime ring in Taiwan that murdered 3 people and kidnapped 58 others have been sentenced to life in prison. They led a gang of 29 people who were arrested in northern Taiwan nearly a year ago. The gang kidnapped and extorted more than 61 people, accruing over $12 million. The gang tortured their victims and killed 3 people. Their bodies were dumped in nearby forests. The 29 defendants racked up over 10,000 charges. Most of the group will spend between 10 and 25 years behind bars. 10 basketball players have been banned from playing in Taiwan for life for match fixing. The sports governing body in Taiwan says the players worked with bookies to gamble on matches. 9 of the players came from the Luxgen Dinos in the semi-professional Super Basketball League, and 1 from the professional T1 League's Taiwan Beer Leopards. The total lockdown of a Taipei hospital during the 2003 SARS outbreak is the subject of one of the frontrunners of this year's Golden Horse Awards. Our reporter Reese Ayers dives into the film Eye of the Storm.
17 years before the COVID-19 pandemic, an outbreak of another coronavirus shook Asia. Severe acute respiratory syndrome, or SARS for short, killed over 20% of people who caught the disease in Taiwan, leaving a painful mark on society here, one that director Lin Chun-young explores in his Golden Horse Award-nominated movie, Eye of the Storm.
这个事件在台北市其实当年是一个非常重大的公卫事件。那因为那个事件，所以以至于我们现在在COVID 这段时间，比如我们的医疗资源、我们的负压隔离病房，我们的整个公卫的体系，就是准备好了，可以应对这样子当下的一场战争。
Lin's film is a dramatization of the sudden lockdown of Heping Hospital in Taipei in April 2003. When the city government isolated over 1,000 medical staff and patients for up to 2 weeks. 31 people died inside the hospital. Lin said he wanted to accurately depict the difficult and graphic conditions healthcare professionals work in.
在创作过程当中，技术上必须一直在克服的部分，包含了我们要还原一整座医院，包含了里面所有的医护人员、医生必须要有医生的行为、外在跟技术。
Eye of the Storm follows a fictional surgeon, played by Wang Baojie, and his colleagues as they struggle to manage panicked patients confined within the hospital. All this while dealing with the virus and trying to keep it from spreading. Lin wanted his film to depict the warlike nature of such incidents. He says it's a metaphor for the battles people face across the world every day.
"这个故事本身就是讲人类面对一场像是战役的一个灾难事件，然后在这个灾难底下所应对出的每一个角色各自的一些选择跟人性。
Lin's film is also a study of human nature, particularly on how people act during crises, while not patronizing the audience by trying to teach them what's right or wrong.
好，你自个儿带，来，来，自个儿带，好。
那透过电影这样子的一个媒材，我们有机会跟着这些角色去做出一些决定。这些决定也许跟你原本的设定是一样的，也许在你跟着角色的过程当下，你发现你会想要去选择一些更英雄的行为，也说不定。
Eye of the Storm is available to watch on Netflix. It's nominated for 8 awards at the 60th Golden Horse Awards, including the most coveted award, Best Narrative Feature. The award ceremony is set to take place on November 25th. Luffy Lee and Reese Ayers for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Finally, check out this light exhibit at New York's Queens Botanical Garden. I'm Yvonne Young. Take care, and I'll see you next time.